Okay, let's look at some random words. A lot of people are having difficulty trying to remember these abstract words, and I want to go through some exercises just to massage the brain and help you understand how to remember and how to picture and visualize these difficult words so it's easier to remember, and also you can use these in sentences a lot easier once you understand it as well. So let's get cracking. Now, I've got a page here that you can actually download from our website. So if you go to tantalali.com/downloads, or there's downloads on your menu there on my website, you can download these. And there's random words on there. There's random words: easy, difficult, hard, hardest. You can download these words and have a play around. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of words here. So if I reload the page, I can get different words as well. So that's the beauty of practicing with these things. So there's roughly about 400 or so words that are randomized, so you've got plenty to work around as well. So here's what I suggest you do when you do download the files. I don't suggest you start memorizing, because memorization, remember, requires you to store that information into, say, a memory palace or locations, things like that. Firstly, what I want you to do is visualize and try and encode the image of that word, because that's going to take you the longest, and you don't want to be able to, do 2, 3 things at once, like try and encode the word and visualize it and then put it into a location and create a story, right? These are all very separate things. So you want to do one thing at a time and do it really well. So here's what I mean. So if I look at this, right, I'm just going to take the fourth row. I've got some weird habit of just starting out in either the third or fourth row. So anyway, I'm just going to take out the first word. So eyes, we can visualize eyes, right? We can visualize that. So if you picture eyes in your head, what do you see? That's pretty easy. But if we want to make it memorable, right, what can we take the eyes out? I know it's a bit morbid, but you can visualize it a lot better. Right? Can we see different colored eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, brown, hazel eyes? Right? As soon as you add more dimension on there, it becomes a bit more memorable. Let's look at something a little bit more abstract, right? The word beauty. Now, I should just make these a bit bigger. There you go. So the word beauty, right? Now, this is in the eye of the beholder, as they say, but this word beauty, right? It doesn't necessarily have an image associated to it. Right? There is no generic image. Like eyes, we can visualize eyes to our liking, but beauty, we have to provide a bit more context around it. So when you think of beauty, what do you think of? Right? That's what you have to look at. You have to look at, okay, what's my personal connection to beauty? If you try and externalize beauty, like if you say beauty is this, yes, you'll get an image, but it won't be as strong. So if I attach a personal beauty word, that's a lot stronger for me. So for example, I've got some flowers just right outside here, and for me that's very beautiful, beauty. So I see the beauty in those flowers, right? So that's my personal connection to beauty. You might see a person as, oh wow, look at that beauty, right? Beautiful person, beauty. Or it might be a saying, in Aussie slang, we've got, oh, you beauty, right? So you can even create that. So you have to look at the context you use that word in, so it creates that, not just a visual presence, but the context around, because context can give you an image a lot better as well. So let's look at the next word, which is even more abstract: breach, right? So you have to think, okay, what is breach? In breach of something, right? What could that be? Now, I can think of the context that I'm seeing breach in is there could be a breach in contract. Right, so I come from a business background. I've done a bit of law as well, contract law. So breach in a contract, what does that look like? Right, for me, that's what I've got. You could also have something was breaching, I don't know, your car's parked out the front. There's something breaching the front so you can't move. Right, so the more context you create around the difficult abstract word, the easier it is to create an image around it. Bone. Come on, that's as soon as I say a bone, you might think of your bone in your hand or a dog bone. That's a little bit more simpler. So these images come to you a lot quicker. But when you have a word like breach, it's like, oh wow, now I have to create context around it. So the best way to train for creating images is download this file. It's free, by the way, so it's pretty cool. Go to my website and just take your time playing around with words like breach and beauty, and even things like memory. Memory is quite abstract. And what do you visualize when you think of memory? Is it memory training? Is it people in memory? Is it forgetfulness? There's so many words, right? So you have to think of what can I visualize for the word memory? What context could I put that in so it makes it more memorable? Request, that's another difficult one. Are you asking for something? What are you requesting? Is it a friend request? Friend request, right? On Facebook or something. So you know how they look like. So you've got a personal connection there if you're on Facebook. So think of the different scenarios. Remember, you don't have to try and do this within seconds. You're not competing in a competition, right? That's what we do in competitions, or I used to anyway before I finished a while ago. But when you're training, right, go as slow as you can. Try and have some fun with the training, because that's where the beauty in memory is. So request, what does that look like? Train, pretty easy to visualize there. Side, now that's a difficult one. Side, in what context? Do you see what I mean? So as soon as a word comes up and it's quite abstract, you think, okay, in what context can I create it in? I know I've said it a few times already, but the repetition helps you to remember as well. So think about that. So in what context? Is it by my side? Is it on the side of the driveway? Is it the side of your phone? In what context are you visualizing it in? Soon as you create that context, then you can create the image around it and add more details. So then you got pathway, hallucination. Look, so many cool words in here. Download it, have a play around, and once you play around, and you can look, there's over 100 words here. You can just reload the page and bang, go another one. Look at that, represented. That's a challenging one, isn't it? So the more you start to visualize and encode a lot better, guess what happens? You start to not only see the words a lot better, but when you're actually reading, right, groups of words, then you can start to encode those groups of words a lot better. So what does that mean? That means that your reading will eventually get better and better. And because you're encoding a lot better, your comprehension will improve. So this is in fact really good training for things like speed reading. Right? It's not just memory training, it's good for things like speed reading. And speed reading isn't just reading really fast, or it's a result. Speed reading is only a result of faster encoding, right? So practice this, download the file. Like I said, it's free on my website. Play around. I'll go through some more examples of this as well, probably in a bit more detail, try and really get to the core of how can you make the most of abstract words. But at the moment, just have a bit of a play around, download it. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'm more than happy to help anyway. So give it a go. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.